So you're looking to manifest something quite big into your life, you know, that loving relationship with your SP, that brand new car, the house you've always wanted, the money that you've desired, whatever it might be. And perhaps you're wondering why, you know, this manifestation isn't coming to fruition, or maybe you're thinking, oh, you know, a bit of time has elapsed, 1 year, 2 year, 5 years, and you've not really seen any movement. And you know that the key to manifesting everything is reaching that state, you know, shifting states, quantum jumping to that reality that already exists where you have your dreams and desires, shifting to the state of the wish fulfilled, as Neville Goddard calls it, where you just know it is a given, where you're living as if you have it now. You know that is the key. But maybe you're a little bit confused as to what signs to look out for that really tells you that you've reached that state when you know the magic is about to happen. Well, I'm going to share in this video as many signs to look out for that will tell you that you've shifted state. And if you experience even just a couple of them, then this is a really good sign, and that you are well on the way to receiving your desires. So stay tuned for this entire video and I shall share all. First up, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you guys so much. I've had such wonderful support since I've started my journey on TikTok and YouTube, and I'm just sending you all the love in the world. This channel is here to empower you on your manifestation journey, and I will do all I can to give you all the information you need to help you on your way. If you would like one-to-one coaching, I do have some slots available, and I'll be there to help you be accountable for your journey and also to guide you on your very specific desires. Like and subscribe if this content was good, and let me know if you want anything in particular for me to make a video on. Now, with the state of the wish fulfilled, as you know, you've reached that desired end. So one of the signs to look out for is that you are done, basically. Your mood shifts. So you've gone from this state of desperation where, say it's an SP, for example, because I know a lot of you are manifesting an SP. I know what you're after. But say, you know, you're manifesting your SP and you're getting kind of, you know, you start off, you're stressed out with it, right? You're doing all these techniques. You're picking up your phone and checking your phone. Why haven't they texted me? And if you're in a contact situation, oh, well, they've barely texted me today. Oh no, you know, they've only texted me one message with no lovingness to it. Or you're checking their social media. Oh, I'm still blocked. Oh, the third party is still there. And you're doing everything from a state of stress. Well, when you have shifted to the state of the wish fulfilled, this mood will change, because you will be living as though you have this desire now. It is here. It is a given. It is done. And you won't be obsessing. You'll be dropping all those negative behaviors. You'll be content and calm. It was like when I was doing it, I actually felt like I could breathe again, like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. You know what I mean? Like all of that anxious, tense energy where I'm, you know, forcefully like doing techniques all the time and checking my phone all the time and checking their social media. It was like, I'm done. I'm done with all of that, because that behavior was reflecting a lack mentality. And when I had shifted state, I was no longer in this lack mentality. There was no reason for me to check my phone. There was no reason for me to be worried about when the next message would come through. I mean, I was blocked, so I knew that I wasn't going to be getting any message at that point anyway. But when I shifted state, I knew that I was going to be receiving that message. I knew that we were coming together. I was living more, because you can live as if you have the desire right now. But for some people, that does cause a lot of resistance. So for some people, it's just easier to believe that desire is a given and it is definitely coming to me. I've ordered my package over. I've placed my order. It is going to be delivered. I can get on with my life. And so I felt like I could just breathe. My mood switched from the obsessive anxiety and the lack to calm, content, and just a pleasant feeling. You know, I could let go of the lack mentality. I could let go of noticing how much time had elapsed. I could let go of everything that was missing, because I had shifted state. And that state shift says to me that nothing is missing. Everything is here. It's abundant. You know, I've got my wish fulfilled. And so that is a huge indicator that you have shifted state. And that's something to look out for when you are shifting into the next reality. Another thing to look out for is your inner talking. Now, of course, when you change state, your inner talking is going to shift as well. Now, to give you an example, but again, when I was manifesting my SP, in the beginning, my inner talking was very, very negative. First up, it was negative about myself. Oh, this third party, she can probably give him more than I can't, than I can, sorry, she's, maybe we're attractive, more attractive than I am, or younger, or maybe more successful, they have more in common, or are they going to get married and stuff, like literally like horrible, horrible things, And also it would consist of reliving arguments that I had with my SP, and also creating new arguments that hadn't even happened. But when you have an argument with someone, when you reflect back on it and you're like, I should have said that. Oh, I should have said that. And if we have another argument again, this is what I'm going to say. So I was reliving all of that. My inner talking was consisting of the arguments. My inner talking was consisting about the third party, and she's better than me, and I'm not attractive, and he's left me, I must not be desirable, I'm not worthy, I'm not chosen, all that kind of stuff. So when you've shifted state, again, all of that shifts too. This is why it feels like a weight's been lifted off your shoulder, because negativity is such a heavy burden to carry. I dislike it so much. This is why I don't like having hatred. This is why I've got good relationships with all of my exes and people around me. I don't like that negative energy. It's just such a heavy weight to carry. So when I shifted state, it was like, yes, I could breathe, I could release, there was no lack. And at the same time, that inner talking shifted to positive things that he and I would say to each other. Gratitude. I was like, I'm so grateful for, this loving time with my SP. I'm so grateful that we're back together. Inner conversations I would have with friends, regaling them about things that me and my SP were doing and the fun stuff we were having. And my inner talking to myself, most importantly, was that, I am a goddess, I am desirable, I am beautiful, I've got so much to offer, who wouldn't want to be with me? It's like, I am like affirming to yourself, but I wasn't standing there doing affirmations, and I'm not really a fan of affirmations, admittedly. They've never really worked for me, but my inner talking had shifted, so I'm not speaking it like a parrot. It's coming from my heart. It was coming from embodying this new self-concept of me that was confident, that was desirable, that had my wish fulfilled. And so there was no reason for my inner talking to be negative, because it was like, I am chosen, I am desirable. And you're believing it because you're living in the state as if, your wish has been fulfilled, or you know that your wish is going to be fulfilled. So you do feel good about yourself, and your inner talking will shift to that of a more positive place. Another sign, as this kind of stuff is happening, you will also notice language. Now, I always say, because I, was studying like hypnosis and NLP, I'm so conscious of language. I notice it in my clients and, people that comment on my videos and TikTok, that if you've got any sort of lack in your language, it's a big indicator that you haven't shifted state. And when that changes, when your language changes, then you know that you shifted state, because you're speaking as if your manifestation has come or is coming to fruition. So again, when manifesting my SP, it was like, when he gets in touch, it started off as, if, maybe, I'm not sure sort of language, to speaking with assertion, it was a done deal. When he gets in touch, when he gets back with me, when he reaches out, I was just so certain of it, and it was lovely. And it was coming naturally, by the way. It wasn't forced. Perhaps in the beginning, as you are shifting state, you are implanting these affirmations, you are consciously implanting this language. But the thing is, it's such a natural thing that happens, that at the same time you are unconsciously talking as if, that is a given, you've already got it. You're not trying anymore, you're not hoping anymore. Try, hope, your ifs, ands, buts, and all the rest of it, that's just kind of like this uncertainty. It was just like, no, I am doing this. I am grateful for having, I'm not hopeful, I am grateful because I have it. Isn't it wonderful that I have this now? One of Neville Goddard's teachings, his sort of affirming, isn't it wonderful? Yes, isn't it wonderful because I have it? So my language would shift in that sense. And also my conversations to my friends about the SP went from, oh, he's an asshole, he did this and he didn't message me, and oh, he said this to me when we were in the relationship, he treated me this way, he was, all this negative talk, to I stopped talking about him. I lessened it if I spoke about him at all. And if I did talk about him, it would be positive. It would be thinking of the positive memories. Of course, if I talked about him to my friends and I was talking like, oh, we spent the most wonderful afternoon together, and they'll just be like, what? He's not even in your life. Are you delusional? Better put her in the psych ward or something quick. But do you know what I mean? I would be having those conversations sometimes internally in my heart. I wouldn't be talking about him negatively. All that negative talk to my friends just completely stopped, because I just knew, because it was a given, because that wasn't my reality anymore. That old story was gone and dead, and I was living this new story where he was a completely changed person. And by the way, can I just say that he did embody my assumptions. And when we came back together, and if you met him today in comparison to what he was like all those years ago, completely different person, completely like 180. And I can do a video on that if you guys are interested, and how it shifted and what I did to shift him. So that's another sort of big indicator as well. Your inner talking, then you've got your outer talking, your speech. You're dropping all the negative talk, you're dropping all the hopes and the maybes and stuff. You're talking with more assertion. You're talking to your friends about them, about the SP, either not at all, or no, you're not talking in a negative way, and you're talking about them perhaps positively as well, in your head and in your heart, that it's good, it's okay, everything's going well. And if you've got really good friends, you can talk about it in a positive way and they won't judge you and commit you. Another massive sign, actually, this is a big one too, nearly forgot to mention, is your reaction to 3D is going to be different. Now, let's be realistic, right? We're not going to be able to completely ignore the 3D. We're not going to have the blinkers on and just walk around blind and just be like, no, I'm just going to live in my imagination. I mean, the imagination is the only reality. This should be your predominant reality. You should be embodying that self-concept, that state so much, and bathing yourself in the glory of it regularly through your visualizations or whatever techniques you're using. You should be doing it so much that the 3D reality, although you can't completely ignore it, and I know I've said as well, a lot of people say ignore your 3D reality. I just want to clarify, when I say ignore it, it's not to walk around blind and I'll ignore it. I'll stay in my house and I'll switch my phone off so then I can completely ignore it and just focus within. I mean, do what you can to distract from it, because obviously the 3D is your mirror. But it's a delayed mirror. So for a while, it's going to be reflecting your old story. So it's going to be hard when you shift state. You're still being reflected like the old story, and that can be a hard thing to detach from. That's why I say ignore the 3D. But what I also mean by that is that detach from it emotionally. When you've shifted state, you detach emotionally from the 3D more and more. That's a natural occurrence that happens. So from that, I mean, when you look at 3D and you see a car driving past, you don't really have an emotional attachment to it. It's just something that's happening. It's just there. You observe it. When it's something to do with a 3D, when it's something to do with an SP, and say, they've texted you an abusive message or they've blocked you, okay, you get emotionally attached to that and you react to it. It's an immediate reaction of fear or anger or devastation or tears, right? So when you shifted state, that reaction becomes less, because you are more aware that that is the old story playing out. You've given it a different meaning. You're like, okay, fine, whatever that is. But you're back within your own reality. You're back in your state of the wish fulfilled. And it's like, well, I'm not lacking anything. I know I'm not seeing it with my 5 senses, but it is here now. Vibrationally, it exists right now. So I'm not as reactive to the 3D. Does that make sense? So that's a huge sign that you've shifted state. You may also start to see little changes outside that kind of show you that you've quantum shifted. Things that you kind of look and you'll be like, oh, I never noticed that was there before. I never noticed that building was there. Oh, I never noticed that, your hair was always that long. I don't know how to describe it, but there'll be little signs and synchronicities that show you that your world doesn't quite look the same anymore. And that's because you've shifted to this state of the wish fulfilled. You're in the receiving mode. You have your desire now, or you're certain you're going to get the desire. Your world slowly starts to shift and change, because the more you embody it and believe it, if you want to get scientific about it, the reticular activating system in your brain, which is the filter in your unconscious mind, is going to start filtering things out, and you're going to start seeing the world in a different way. It's stuff that was always there. Everything exists now. As the Bible says, what is it, like Neville Goddard always says in his lectures? Mind block. And I don't edit my videos, I just do it as it runs. But everything is done, basically. You're probably saying it, and I'm trying to hear it. What is it? Creation is done. Thank you for that telepathic message. Creation is done. Creation is finished. Creation is finished. And in quantum, they state that we are in a multiverse. Every eventuality, every possibility, exists now. We just align to it. So creation is done, or if you want to go by the quantum physics, everything is here now. So if we're living it now, as we shift, you'll start to see signs of your new reality, your new life coming in. Your reticular activating system would have been turned on or turned off or filtered in a certain way, that you'll start seeing synchronicities. You'll start seeing these sort of signs and shifts and strange things that you didn't notice before. It's filtered, it's geared for that new beginning. And so all of this combined, if you've got all of this combined, you are just well on the way. Expect your manifestation very soon. If you've got a couple of these things going on for you, then you are well on the path. But generally, you'll have a combination of all of this going on when you have shifted state, and perhaps even more, So I hope this was helpful. Do let me know in the comments. And thank you so much for joining me, and for your lovely comments and support as well. I love you guys dearly. Thanks again.